and welcome to Let's Talk Seniors, Memory Care Issues, Alzheimer's, Dementia, and Parkinson's. I'm Deirdre Virvo, your host, and many of you may know me from some of my Just Like Home videos on seniors or from Facebook Live, Let's Talk Seniors. Others of you may know me as the best-selling author of Home to Home, the step-by-step guide for the housing market for seniors, senior housing. This is a fabulous book. If you're interested in getting a copy, just give me a call. It explains all about the different assisted livings, independent living, nursing homes, memory care homes, also what to do with your home if you're a senior. Should you sell it with a realtor? Should you sell it to a rehabber? How to get cash, how to get the most from it. Whatever you're looking for, we have it here in this book. So today we have a special guest on. Her name is Sheila O'Brien. I've met her in person. She's lovely. And she has so much information on how seniors and senior caregivers can reduce stress. And this is a very tough time for so many people during COVID, especially seniors who are homebound often by themselves, trying to stay safe and not having their loved ones able to be there as often or at all. So Sheila is going to help us in how to do this. So give a warm welcome to Miss Sheila O'Brien from O'Brien Care Management. Thank you, Sheila, for coming on. It's great to see you again. And tell us a little bit about yourself and your background for people that don't know you.
Sure. So first, Deirdre, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to see you and be part of your home-to-home world. You're just like home world. Your place is absolutely beautiful, cozy, warm. Really, really love it.
Thank you.
So my background is in nursing. I was a visiting nurse for many years, and about 12 years ago, I went from the visiting nurse world to the care management world, where I help people coordinate any kind of care that they need. So we're a team of nurses. We've expanded a lot. We help people in New Haven County, Fairfield County, Westchester County, and we'll also go into Manhattan. And the reason for that is because we have a good team of nurses throughout the county's area that can help people. And we really provide that concierge level of care and make every effort to make every person think that they are our one and only client.
So Sheila, are you finding people in Manhattan wanting to come up to Connecticut because of COVID right now?
Yes and no. Manhattan has definitely had its big challenges, but for the most part, my clients there can get out and they have access to sidewalk walking and they have more fresh air type things. My clients in Fairfield County and New Haven County, Westchester County, they are a little bit more isolated just because they don't have that people-to-people contact.
Ah, okay. All right. So
yeah. So it's stressed in a different way.
So with all the younger people, what I mean is people that aren't seniors,
yes,
leaving in droves, you're finding the seniors are staying in Manhattan and
for the most part, unless family members want to bring them closer, around the corner from them. That's where we're seeing some other change. And for that matter, Florida, Long Island, Massachusetts, we're getting calls
from everywhere.
Really from all over. They'd rather have their children, where they can see them on a daily basis if they needed to.
Oh, I totally understand that. I'm trying to move my mom to Connecticut from New York myself.
Oh.
She's not in Manhattan. Yeah, she's not in Manhattan, but she's in Rockland County, New York, and I want her to move here because she's 83, and she's totally independent while she can make all her own decisions. I want her to be around me.
Sure.
But that's my goal. But she doesn't want to move now because of COVID, but hopefully soon enough she'll want to sell and move. But yeah. So your nurse.
Fingers crossed.
I know. If it was up to me, Sheila, my whole family, we'd live on a family compound. Everybody.
Yeah. Mine too.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I'm saying goodbye to our kids when they leave. It's not easy.
No, it's not fun. It's not fun. So you have a unique perspective being a nurse into the business. How does that help you? How does that help your client?
It helps our clients tremendously because of the strong community resources that we know about. In my years as a visiting nurse, and just so you understand, the 5 nurses that work for me all have a lot of experience as a visiting nurse. I think that that's really, really important before you can branch into the community. So we just over our years and years of experience, I mean, like 25, 35, 30 years of experience, we know every community resource out there. And if we don't, we know the people to ask for it.
Nice.
And, you know, we know how to implement safety measures in a careful, compassionate, thought out way. So it makes a difference.
Plus, I think you could assess the things that other people might not see. Like sometimes, you know, with memory care issues or Alzheimer's dementia, it could be an underlying health issue that brought it on.
Absolutely. What we always do when we get called in for the first time with people that are suspecting that their parent might have dementia is bring them to the doctor, run a panel, and see maybe their thyroid is off, maybe their B complexes are off, folic acid is off. Those things all contribute to memory loss.
Yeah, and
dehydration.
I don't think that people realize that things that show up in seniors that wouldn't show up with somebody younger in the same situation, just kind of like a urinary tract infection. When you're younger, you just have a urinary tract infection. When you're older, you could be hallucinating with it. So,
without question, yeah.
Yeah, these cause
somebody I'm seeing tomorrow in January. I met her in January because she was found walking on the street barefoot. And this is a person who was otherwise very independent. And she had a urinary tract.
And then
you know, I'm still working with her because, you know, she's in her 90s and they realize, yeah, she does need somebody to put their eyes and ears on her.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Just something like that. Like younger, you just have a little pain and discomfort. Older, you're doing crazy things, right? So you know, can show up differently. So there's a lot of people feeling stress right now because of COVID and the isolation and caregivers with them. And there's so many people that weren't caregivers before that are now home with their parents with full-time care. So let's talk about how to help stress levels, how to manage their stress, how to, you know, get them to be less stressed out about a situation that seems almost never ending at this point.
I know there is an end in sight. It's just that it's not anywhere nearby, which is difficult. So you're right. This is a very stressful time. It's a very stressful time for people who normally have no stress. Now, I don't think there's a person in this country that doesn't have any stress right now, or knows somebody that does. So I think this is definitely a timely topic. But you know, whenever I talk about a topic, I always like to start off with the definition, so we all know what we're dealing with, and this is one common playing ground. So the definition of stress. Stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension which results in an adverse or which is a result of an adverse or very demanding circumstance. So, you know, in this case, definitely COVID is one of those horrible circumstances, whether you're directly affected by it or not, in terms of a physical problem. We're all affected by it emotionally. So stress has 2 components. There's the physical stress, and that involves a direct material or bodily challenge. People have essential tremors because of stress. People have sleep issues because of stress. That's a physical one. And then there's also the psychological one, and that involves how somebody can perceive their life. So somebody with psychological problems might see a certain stress as a whole lot more demanding on them than somebody without those problems. So just like pain is whatever the person says it is, stress is whatever the person says it is. If somebody is completely stressed out by something that you think is trivial or silly, you just have to say, oh, thank God, I don't suffer with that, and let's see what we can do to help this person. So what does stress feel like? Stress can feel like a lot of physical things. Muscle tension. You can have chronic headaches. Headaches are many, many times associated with stress. Your breathing pattern changes, and that elicits a whole nother set of problems. Breathing patterns that change make you more anxious, and then it causes oxygen, carbon dioxide changes, and it's somersault. You could develop, like I said before, essential tremor, shakiness. Your appetite can change. Some people with stress just cannot stop eating, and it causes obesity. You know, we refer to the COVID-19, or more or less like the COVID-20. Now it's probably going to be the COVID-30, and that's changes in appetite, and it can go one way or another. You could either gain weight because of it, or you can lose weight because of it. Neither of which is a good reason to gain or lose weight. Yeah. I mentioned before trouble with sleeping. Another thing, and we do work with people with, it's called cognitive remediation exercises, and that's something that I'll get into a little later. But you have a lot of difficulty concentrating on one subject. Your mind is just going in a million different directions. Concentrating on a specific subject or getting a task done is much more difficult if you're stressed than it is if you think clearly.
Is that caused by stress?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If
really?
you got
able to concentrate is caused by stress?
I'm sorry, what?
Is that a joke?
No, I couldn't hear what you said. I'm honest.
Wait, I said unable to concentrate is caused by stress.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Really? Okay.
And, we even talked about this in the last time that I spoke when we were talking about hoarders. Hoarders can't, they can't clean a counter. They can't get tasks accomplished. And they have anxiety disorder. That's the underlying cause of hoarding. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to talk about, let's see, I've got I've got a whole PowerPoint presentation here that in better times we would have a nice presentation and yes. So how can you relax? If everybody has their own way, but if we if you're looking for a technique, and sometimes people need that concrete thing, and what is worse than somebody telling you to relax? Right. When you're already anxious, being told to relax only elevates the anxiety. So I would never recommend that. So relaxation techniques can take as little as 5 minutes. Nobody needs to know that you're doing them a lot of the time. You could meditate. And by meditating, all you're doing is sitting very upright, concentrate on posture. If you'd like to stand, that's fine, but shoulders back and really concentrate on posture. And focus your attention on one object. While you're focusing your attention, you're going to think about one specific thing. And if you want to try to relax, just keep repeating, I feel peace. I feel peace, and focus on one object and say that. That's a meditation technique that really does help de-escalate people. Breathing exercise.
Say that out loud or to yourself?
It depends. If you're in a crowd, I would recommend maybe not talking to yourself. But if you could just concentrate on that, and sometimes being in a crowded environment, especially during COVID, I think about the polling line. Now, if you've got a lot to do that day, it's not easy to concentrate on this is very stressful for me, sitting in these polling lines, and there's people all around me. I shouldn't be around crowds, all of that. So that's a great time to practice a technique like that and keep quiet. If you're home by yourself and you want to try that, by all means. If you're hearing yourself talk, sometimes that in itself is calming. So that's a good thing to do. Breathing exercises. If you take deep breaths in through your mouth, out through your nose, cleansing breaths, it's really, really helpful. Another thing is, and I can get into this more in a little bit, but it's a technique called mindfulness, but you're being present in the present. And I'll give you a little story. I have a friend who works with children, autistic children mostly, and ADD. So she has this thing called QEEG, and she puts monitors on your head, and she had me go into her office one day and do this with her. So she put these monitors on my head, all these little clips, and then she set up a computer system, and it was a very big, bright, and she's like, this is Nemo. My job was to watch Nemo and really concentrate on Nemo as Nemo navigated through the deep, dark sea, through all the seaweed, through all the beautiful shells. And it was absolutely gorgeous. And I loved it for the first minute or so. Then I was thinking, I got to get out of here. I've got a million things to do. I started making out my grocery list. I started thinking about the after school activities with the kids and all of the things that you do. And sure enough, Nemo stopped swimming. And the reason for that is I stopped concentrating. So she does these techniques. These are really high tech, and we can get, if you'd like more information about that, let me know and I can hook you up with her. She is a terrific caregiver, very, very, very knowledgeable. But her focus is with people just saying, focus on one thing. How many times have you gone to a lecture and the guy is really, really interesting, but you've got a million things on your mind and you can't stop making out your list? Do you think you really got a lot out of that lecture? Probably not. If you ever go to a movie and you think, I couldn't tell anybody what this movie was about. And the reason is because you didn't concentrate on the movie. You were concentrating on all those other things. So being in the moment is extremely important for reducing stress.
So Sheila, what's without watching Nemo on the screen?
Yes.
Hooked up. How do you put yourself in the moment when you start distracting yourself with all the must-dos, should-dos, making your mental list?
Try to get those demons out. Don't allow your mind to wander. And while the person, sometimes, like, it's going back to grammar school. Do you need to sit in the front row? Do you need to not have music on behind you if you're home listening to a lecture on your computer? This is happening a whole lot more now that we're in COVID. Is it smart to be muted and have music or the television on? Maybe not. Maybe try focusing on one thing.
Yeah, I find it helpful to, like, I have to shut off my emails when I'm on Zoom, because you hear them dinging and you're like, can now not concentrate. You're wondering who's writing to you. And then the other thing is, if I write it down, so if something's on my mind and I'm trying to concentrate, for instance, to you, and I'm like, oh, I have to pick somebody up at 6, I will just write it down real quick, pick up at 6, and then I'm done.
Yeah, it's right there. It's right there, so you don't have to think about it.
Right.
So that's definitely.
Remember it over and over, like trying to memorize it, right? But when I write everything down, now I don't have to worry about it.
So there's another woman, Ann Pagano, is she speaks all across the country. She's just a phenomenal educator, a phenomenal person. She's warm, she's lovely. But she is, I consider her the guru on mindfulness. She really, really knows her stuff. I can get anybody that would like her information. I'd be happy to share her information. She's a wealth of knowledge. And she recommends even having a notepad by your bedside, because how many times do you wake up in the middle of the night and you're so worried you're going to forget about something in the morning that you'll lose hours and hours of sleep? If you just wrote it down, it's right there.
Yeah, that's what I do. Not by my bedside, but before I go to bed, I'll be like, write down what I have to do tomorrow, and then I feel free. Like, then your mind is free.
It's on the list. And the other thing is that's a really good way. We're kind of digressing a little bit into organizational skills, but you know what? Being organized really does de-stress you as well. So that's another thing is people say every day, write out a list of what you're going to accomplish that day. And as you accomplish it, check the box. And it really does help you to be a more productive person, a more mindful person, and a happier person because you're not stressed about what you have to do next. You know, right on the list. So that helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the definition of mindfulness, I'll read you that as well. Mindfulness is a technique in which you focus only on one thing that is happening in the present moment. Mindfulness is not a time to zone out or space out, but it's rather a time to purposely pay attention and be aware of your surroundings, your emotions, your thoughts, and how your body feels. Training your mind to focus only on the present, you learn not to get lost in regrets from the past or worry about the future. Letting go of thoughts may help you worry less and accept things as they are. Mindfulness teaches you to be in control of your mind so that your mind does not control you. And that's a very important thing.
So what do you say about people that are constantly in a state of worry, especially now with COVID? How?
You know what? If you're constantly in a state of worry and all of these things that we're talking about today, you really give it a sincere try and it's just not working out for you. I think and I hope that in the year 2020, we could all identify that emotional and behavioral health problems are health problems. They're nothing to be, you're not weak because you're anxious. You're not any less of a person because of that. It's just that your mind is programmed in a different way. So when our pancreas is programmed in a different way, we might need to take insulin. When your mind is programmed in a different way, you really need to think about getting the help and counseling that will help you with the techniques that retrain your mind.
But being mindful and just being like present and
Right.
being calm and focusing on one thing at a time. And I find that doing things physically helps me personally. Like when
Sure.
I'm doing something physical, my mind is just on that physical thing. Even if it's emptying the dishwasher, if it's whatever, I'm just like doing cleaning, doing physical things. It actually de-stresses me because now I'm not, I want to say I'm not thinking, I'm doing instead of just sitting,
You're accomplishing something.
Is that?
And that's good. I said you're accomplishing something, and that's important.
But is that why? Is that why?
Yeah. That's you were being mindful at the time, and that's great. And I don't want to give you instructions, but if you wanted to enhance that,
Mm-hmm.
you would the next time you're listening to a lecture, the next time you're watching a show, the next time you might be at a church service or any kind of religious service, you're really focusing, you're getting as much as you can out of the time that you're spending. Really, really important.
Yeah.
And then, you kind of feel better about it because you didn't waste your time. The time was well spent. The time was definitely spent to the best of your capability. And that's helpful.
Yeah. Somebody actually just told me this today about his grandchildren. Just off subject, he was telling me today that he loves having grandkids. He said, I'm really focused on them and very mindful. And as chaotic as it is having 3 grandkids, they calm me because I'm just on them. And he said, when I was, a father growing up, I had a million things. I was with my
yeah.
kids, I was
Your kids distracted you from all the things you needed to do.
But when he had his kids, he was thinking about work and everything else he had to do. And he wasn't with them like he is with his grandchildren. He's like singularly focused on them. And he's like, they're chaotic and they're a lot of, running around. They're little and he's older. But he's like, it's actually calming because he's mindfully just with them.
Okay, but think about that. He could spend, like, say, he spends a half hour with them. And it's a really good, mindful, focused half hour. It's probably enough time. or you could spend 3 hours of not really that significant time.
Yeah.
So something to think about, when you're spending time with somebody, you really, is it quantity or quality? And it's really about the quality of time. That gives everybody the most satisfaction.
For sure. For sure.
So
yeah, go ahead.
uh-huh.
Go ahead.
The next thing I was going to talk about is aromatherapy. And this has become very popular lately. And when I give my in-person lectures on stress management, I bring along little essential oils. And they're really helpful. They're, for the most part, effortless. Candles can do it. Oils can do it. If you have a lavender oil, you can, and that's available at so many different places. Whole Foods. It doesn't take going to a specialty shop. If you put it on your wrist, rub it into your wrist, rub it into your neck, just like perfume. It's very, very helpful. And they have a positive effect on your hormone production, your brain chemistry, and your stress levels go down. So
what is it in lavender that does that?
I don't know. Lavender is known. It's very, very, very well known. People put lavender sachets in their pillows.
I have a pillow spray. I have a lavender pillow spray. I love the smell, but I can't say it calms me. I can't really, speak for that. But if you can, I'm not sure. Well, it smells good.
Yeah, it does smell good. Maybe you need to take it up a notch and, get some oils, get the
oils and candles.
Right. And it's, it's so easy, such an easy way. So now I'm going to get into things that you can do as lifestyle changes to help alleviate stress. So healthy eating habits. When you start eating healthy, you empower yourself and you take control. The food is not controlling you, you're controlling the food. And it's empowering, and it really does help reduce stress. There's nothing worse than that 5 minutes of you just absolutely enjoyed that huge burger or pizza or something that you eat just because you think that you're stressed. And it's for 5 minutes, you really do enjoy it. It's good stuff. But for the next day, and you think about that, and it just ruminates. It's, try healthy eating habits, and a branch of that, we could talk about that for a half hour. Healthy eating habits. That could be a good topic. Because, once you start, there's no guilt. You start looking better, you start feeling better, you start sleeping better. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. There's an awful lot of fun, quick meal ideas. And if you're not into cooking, there are so many really healthy meal starters. At Whole Foods, they actually have the like the whole, what are some of the box foods that you can get that you bring it home and eat and cook?
My daughter's a huge proponent of Trader Joe's because everything is like healthy food in a bag, nitrate. Yeah. She's always like, shrimp and mixed vegetables in a bag and, salad in a bag, but it's all healthy. So it makes such a big difference.
It's my favorite store. Listen, I was there this afternoon. I was there about an hour and a half ago.
Oh my gosh. My daughter, she could be their spokesperson.
Yeah.
Seriously, at Christmas, looked up to see if they were publicly traded, get her stock in it. Like she's there all the time.
That's so funny. But, yeah, she probably helps the stuff.
She loves it. But
yeah.
I just in the beginning of COVID, so many, myself included, so many of my friends were just thinking like, it was a 3-week snow day. We were like, I was like chicken parmesan. I'm going to bake today. I'm going to bake tomorrow. I'm going to bake the next day. I'm going to have some wine. Oh my gosh. And then it was like fun for a few days. Like you're at a party.
Yeah, it gets old.
Like, this is like, you don't feel good.
Right.
Well, because you're drinking too much wine. It's disrupting your sleep. And, so it does feel so much better. Like you said, having that, those spare ribs are great when you're eating them, but after that, like your stomach's churning all night and you're like, what are you doing for? Like, I know better. So, and water, especially for
without question. Yeah.
So many seniors are dehydrated. That is like their major thing, causing them headaches, they're just dehydrated.
Almost an awful lot of falls. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but an awful lot of falls are because somebody's dehydrated. If you're dehydrated, when you stand, your blood pressure plummets and your heart rate goes up, and then you become dizzy and you fall. It's really, and you know what else dehydration causes is a urinary tract infection.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
yeah. So, so for my seniors, if they have a caregiver with them, I ask the caregiver to fill, whatever we decide in a day, 2 pitchers, however big the pitcher is, of water. And it does not need to be water by any means of the stretch of the imagination. It does not need to be water. It could be whatever the senior or the person wants to drink, as long as it's not sugary drinks. Sugary drinks, avoid. It drives me absolutely crazy when I see people with Coca-Cola and the Gatorades. Gatorades are great if you're an athlete. If you're not, you really don't need it.
Sheila, I have a hydration hack, as they say, because I have a brother with Down syndrome, and my father-in-law who won't drink water, and my father-in-law who was 93 wouldn't drink water, and we had to hydrate them, right? We have to hydrate my brother all the time, and he won't drink water. So, and both of them have super sweet tooth. So a lot of times, seniors, that's the last taste to go. So they want sweets. And my father-in-law drank orange soda all day long, had no teeth. But, I was like, oh my God, this is not good for you, right? You have diabetes. You can't keep drinking orange soda. And my brother too. So this is my hack. Fill up a glass with ice, put a straw in it. And then there's these little flavored things that are no calories. You could get them in the store. I forgot what they're called. They come in these little containers. And you flavor them. I think Crystal.
Oh, they're terrific. Crystal Light makes them. It's like one of them is, I think, called Myos.
Yeah, that's the one.
And there is some electrolytes in those too. So it's not a great source of electrolytes, but you're getting, if that is what it takes for these people to drink.
It's like a trick, right? Because it makes it sweet. I put ice cubes in a straw, and I tell my brother, "Here's your soda." And so I'm like, this is better than orange soda. I used to say to my father-in-law, this is like grape soda. This is strawberry kiwi. And they think it's soda. And it's just water.
It'll keep them hydrated. That's all that counts.
I'm serious. It's my hack to get my brother to drink water, because he would refuse water and he would just drink like coffee and soda. And I'm like, no. So
yeah. And that's a great hack. Another thing is limiting caffeine. So you know what I started doing with COVID? I have 2 cups of coffee in the morning and then no more for the rest of the day. And I don't even look for it, but it is what gets me out of bed in the morning. I love my coffee in the morning. What I've started to do is a 50-50 blend. And taste-wise, I don't taste any different. I have the same amount of energy and half the caffeine. So
what about decaffeinated coffee and tea? Is that hydrating?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great forms of hydration. Great. Sure. That's a home run.
Okay.
You mentioned limiting wine, and wine is a depressant, so it's gonna help you relax. It's gonna help you go to sleep. But the problem is that it interrupts your sleep. Yes. Your sleep gets interrupted. Mm-hmm. You'll take a good nap, but that's about it. And then you're up at in the middle of the night and you can't fall back. Sleep, and it's just, so I'm not saying none, but just limit it. Be mindful of the amount. You mentioned getting regular exercise. Exercise is a great stress management technique. Boy, oh boy, can you focus on mindfulness while you're exercising? It's a great thing. We talked about, I'm sorry, what?
For a senior that's not too mobile, maybe, they're not walking, ambulatory, what would you just consider like chair exercises and, move around in your seat?
Okay, so if you go on to YouTube, there is, we could exercise for the next year on chair exercise programs focused for seniors. And the person, it's your exercise class. So, when you're with seniors, you always try to make sure that their day has a good purpose for their day and their day has organization to it. So you set up a chair and they sit in front of the television and there's somebody talking to them the whole time. And there's music going on and they do chair Zumba. And the nice thing about the YouTube is it's not like going to the senior center where you might not like the instructor. If you don't like that instructor, there are thousands right behind them. So definitely you could.
So, this is a great thing for a caregiver and a senior do together.
Oh, yeah.
And, start dancing around and start doing. My mother actually does chair yoga at her senior center.
Yeah, it's great. But now that she can't go to the senior center, I'm telling you, there are thousands and thousands of YouTube videos. It's free. Put it on and enjoy. They're great things. This is my favorite slide, is talking about the benefits of relaxation. So I actually had to change the font on the benefits because I wanted to get it all on one page, and there's so many benefits.
Wow.
So it lowers your heart rate. It lowers your blood pressure. Lowering your blood pressure. I worked in a cardiac lab for many years, and I could tell you if somebody came into the lab and we did our angiogram on them, I knew they suffered with high blood pressure just because your arteries become so thin and wiry. They're not that thick, really great vessel for bringing oxygenated blood to your body. Your body's working a whole lot harder with people with chronic hypertension. So controlling that's really, really, really important. It improves digestion. Your acids build up as you get more and more stress. So figuring out how to control that really will improve digestive issues. Maintaining a normal blood sugar. Let's see, blood flow goes to when your blood pressure is lower, your arteries are more open, you will actually get more blood to your muscles, and that's a lot healthier. Improved sleep quality, decreased fatigue, reduced anger and frustration. Who wouldn't want to reduce that? And it improves your confidence. And I think without confidence, it's hard to get through a day.
Confidence?
I'm sorry, what?
Improves your confidence?
Confidence, yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Like acid reflux and all, is that brought on by stress?
Oh, without question, yes. Yeah.
Things that what is the other thing? Not celiac, like acid reflux. Thinking of another.
GERD, gastro.
Oh yeah, that's brought on just by stress?
Yeah. Yes, reflux.
So if you reduce stress, you can get rid of like acid reflux and stuff?
Right. What happens is the more stressed you are, the more stress level you have in your body, you're going to produce more acids in your stomach.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's not a good thing.
Can I tell you that I've never heard of this until like 5 years ago? Now I know so many people that have acid reflux, and I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, it's very common. Very common.
Was it common before, or are we more stressed?
Yeah, while I was a visiting nurse, the medications for acid reflux were probably one of the more common medications that seniors had, which is kind of sad.
But can you get rid of it by getting?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can reduce the acid by reducing your stress. You reduce the acid, and you can get rid of like acid reflux.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, another thing I always tell people, education is power. So learn about stress, learn about anxiety disorder, and don't be afraid of it. Anxiety disorder is absolutely positively controlled. There's so many great resources out there that can help you. It's just not something that you need to live with.
Really, I know somebody that is not even functioning because of anxiety right now.
It's so sad. My heart goes out to those people.
What are the first steps they should do? Somebody should do if like all these great stress management things don't work and they have like severe anxiety disorder from COVID or just have it. What?
Reach out. Reach out. Many psychologists are seeing people, or therapists are seeing people now with COVID, like we're talking on a FaceTime or a Zoom call. That's very common. So you don't even have to leave your house. And if you go on to psychologytoday.com, there's a tab where you can find a therapist, and you just put in your zip code and your insurance, and they will give you a list of therapists that you can contact.
Wow, that's great. That's great
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
It is good. It is.
It's. I feel really bad for people that have anxiety right now and that are maybe more stressed than others. And now during COVID, and especially if they're
and
there for a senior, a loved one, and now they're worried about them,
right?
About them getting sick, and
there's
now
more reason,
more stressed out over. They have this responsibility, and they're trying to keep their parents safe, and it's just like seems to really just pile on each other.
Sure.
So,
but knowing that you can reach out to somebody and you're not even leaving the comfort of your own home, or it's not going to be a financial burden, is really helpful.
Sheila, all great advice. So first, we should be reducing stress. I wrote everything down. You said, by the way, I'm trying to take notes so you can't see me writing. But, I'm going to try aromatherapy because I was never sure that was a real thing, to be honest. I just like
it. Try it.
It was a real, like, was that just like, kind of a foo-foo thing, or does it really work? So now I'm going to really try it for real. But I love the breathing techniques. I love the, keeping concentrate on one thing. It's almost like
mindfulness is so important. You just mentioned that your friend is just riddled with stress. I bet she can't concentrate on a thing right now.
Yeah, and she really doesn't do a lot during the day. So, I'm sitting there thinking, what? Can't concentrate. Like,
get something accomplished.
Yeah. Like, get something done. But breathing is great. And I love, just focusing. It's kind of what they tell you in Lamaze, right? Focus.
Right.
And just the whole lifestyle change. Eating is, people don't even think about that with stress. But oftentimes people turn to like fatty foods, like comfort foods, stress, and it's like hurting them more, or like.
Oh, and you know what? The guilt that you feel afterwards and not being able to focus on what you're doing because you're feeling so guilty, it really tumbles.
This is why, like for Halloween, I'm buying chocolate with coconut in it because I don't like coconut. Okay, so.
Smart. Very smart.
I buy ice cream for kids that I don't like, so I'm not tempted to eat things like that. So yeah. But I think that a lot of people tend to go to their comfort foods, and then they're only comforted for that 10 minutes of eating it.
Yeah, so, it's really not worth it.
Keeping everything down, and the benefits are just in having a purpose in your day. Lifestyle changes. I love it all.
Making the list. Remember, we talk about making a list.
Making your list to get it all off your mind. And also just writing down. I think keeping a grateful journal too sometimes helps you with stress.
Right. Yeah.
Grateful, what you're grateful for every day, 10 things, because people kind of lose sight of that.
Right.
And you might be so upset that you can't go see your friends, and then you find out somebody died, and they're like,
it's awful.
You're like, I just can't see my friend. It's perspective. So keeping a grateful journal and just writing things down in general, I think is super helpful.
That's one of the exercises that I do with my senior clients. Is I have them, if they're a little forgetful, I have them every morning. I give them a notebook, and they need to write their name and the date every day. But seniors that don't do things like that, and they don't have that structure, they forget the writing technique. It's harder for them to write. So if they just start with their name, their date, and now that we've had this conversation, I'm going to add one thing to be grateful for.
I like it.
That'll be good.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Like a writing technique, and just get people in the habit of writing what they're grateful for, what they love
Today I
about.
was grateful for sunshine because we hadn't seen it in a little while. Today was a much more beautiful day than I expected. It was nice. So it's good.
No, that's super. Grateful journal. I go off and on with my grateful journal, but yeah.
Maybe that's another show.
That's another show. I gotta stay on it. Everybody should stay on it now, but it makes you, puts life in perspective, right?
Correct.
Sheila, you have been a wealth of knowledge as always. You have so much to bring to the party. And really tell us now why people should come to you before we go off the air. Like who should come see you and why, and what is the big benefit of meeting with you?
Well, staying on the stress reducing techniques, we bring calm to chaos. People come to us and that somebody was experiencing a life change or really, really struggling and unhappy with their life. And the kids can't be happy because the parents aren't happy, and the parents are stressed because they don't want to stress their kid. They bring me in, and we bring calm to the chaos. We organize things. We have a very serene, calm approach. We always say to each other, all the nurses that we work together with, you walk into a house and you see 20 problems. You see 20 things that need to be changed, but you don't change, and you'll list them. But where the client's concerned, maybe one or two at a time. And you just chisel away at it, and sooner or later, there's a much better environment.
So somebody that has a parent that's experiencing change, that needs assistance, that needs having memory care issues, health issues, that may need to go move and, come to you, and you will be able to kind of instruct them in all sorts of things, like what's their next step for care and what to do with their money and where they should go.
Right. We can set up their next step for care. We can set up their next place to live. We can help them. I have a whole document organizer that I bring to everybody and give to either the client or their children. And it's not only do you have a will, where is the will located? What are just all sorts of end of life things and succession planning. And it's always good for people to do that when they're not in a crisis. And then the kids have that document. And the last thing that you want to do is be in a crisis and looking for, like, okay, what was their wish? What did they want? Did they fill out a most form? Did they have advanced directives? It's just much.
Well, I'm asking you this because you know your business as a care manager, but before I met you, I didn't even know what a care manager was. So, and I tell people all the time, there are people to help you. They're called care managers, and they don't know that, exist. So are people coming to you in a crisis mainly, or for planning purposes?
The person I saw a woman on Sunday, and that was for planning purposes. And the person I saw, the new person I saw on Sunday was for planning. The new person I saw the previous Wednesday was in an absolute crisis. So of course, just like, the time to get a new job is when you have one. The time to get a new car is when your car is not totaled or broken down. Right. It's always good to try to engage a care manager so that we know what the normal situation is like. And but by all means, we come in chaotic situations and bring a lot of calm to that chaotic environment. And it's very, very helpful. Many times it's of a family member whose children live out of state. So that, and we help with medication management. We help set up the appropriate amount of care in the home. That's the one thing. When I worked for a care management company, I had to manage all the aides. But when I opened my own, I purposely did not hire any aides because I want to be able to be as objective as I can with the person and not try to fit only the amount of aides that I had already hired. I want to be able to, be very open and just get the absolute appropriate and best fit of a caregiver for the person.
What I also think is you're fabulous for is having started Just Like Home, I get so many calls from people that do not have family taking care of them. I got somebody who's like family abandoned them today, and the sister who is like estranged now had to step in. The church called her. I have crazy things. Like I have a few weeks ago, a gentleman who is the power of attorney and caregiver for his landlord. I mean, like so many people do not have.
That's sad because that's the only one that the landlord has.
Yes, but they need you because
Right.
they don't even know where to turn. Like they're, things. And oftentimes, even if you have a family and a whole group of people behind you, hey, it's the first time they're ever going through something typically, and they don't know what to do, where to turn to. So you're a fabulous resource for that.
Yeah. Yeah. What I tell people is a realtor is really good at real estate. I'm never going to pretend that I know everything about real estate. I love real estate, but I'm not a realtor, so I can't pretend that. But I do know a whole lot about care management. And, we should always turn to the people that are the experts in the field and let them do what they do best.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sheila. I hope you come back on since you have a wealth of knowledge and lots of PowerPoints.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I hope everybody has a great day.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye for now. Appreciate it. That was Sheila O'Brien of O'Brien Care Management. She's wonderful. And if you didn't catch her phone number, it's 203-520-9809. 520-9809. So it's interesting because so many people don't even know what care management is. Interesting that she was talking about real estate at the end there because right now, in Fairfield County, New Haven, we have a hot real estate market happening with all the New Yorkers coming in, leaving New York State, coming here in droves. Every realtor I speak to thinks that everybody knows this. No, they don't. They know it because they're realtors. But everybody doesn't know that their house is probably worth more than they think right now, unless they're keeping up with the real estate market. It's the same thing with care management. We don't know everything that there is to know about care management, all the opportunities, all the places to find money, all the things we need, like care directives and power of attorneys and everything we need. That's why you turn to somebody like Sheila. So invaluable. It's great. I'm so happy that there are people like Sheila out there. So thanks again, Sheila. And this is Deirdre Virvo. Until we meet again, stay warm, stay safe, and keep spreading the love.
Hi, Deirdre here again. Thank you for joining me on Let's Talk Seniors Memory Care Issues. Is this an issue hitting home? Do you have a parent or loved one with memory care issues who you feel is not safe at home anymore? Are isolation, falls, and safety issues becoming a big concern? Welcome to Dogwood Senior Home, premier boutique residential senior living specializing in memory care. It's country living at its best. In the Huntington section of Shelton, Connecticut, we're truly a home with only 6 senior residents living as one family unit. Senior residential homes are concepts sweeping the nation with 47,000 across the U.S. We're pleased to open Dogwood Senior Home as it will be only number 6 for Connecticut. Brand new, sparkling clean, opening mid-June. And safe. We are COVID-free. Residential care homes boast a very low COVID infection rate across the nation. This is due to the intimacy of size and speed in which the caretakers can shift to accommodate immediate needs. They are much safer than the large homes and facilities, as you can imagine. It has been documented that residents have less falls and a better quality of life in a residential home environment. Our home is more affordable than the big box facility. You pay one all-inclusive price, and that price is guaranteed for the life of the resident. With an incredible 1-to-3 caregiver ratio, which you won't find anywhere else. Our friendly, loving caregivers are dedicated and trained in Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's issues. We're only taking 6 residents, so the home will fill up fast. Call me at 203-689-7562 for a talk and tour. I would love to meet you and your loved one. See you soon. Bye.